Hello, everyone. I am Tanya Cunningham with Tanya Homes Group, and welcome once again to my Realtor Hat series. Welcome back to part 3 of my powerful and insightful conversation with Sayuri Chacon, relationship coach and owner of You and Me Time. In part 1, we learned about how this unique outside of the box company was created. In part 2, Sayuri shared what an actual You and Me Time experience can look like. And in part 3, now we learn how this phenomenal entrepreneur has taken this fantastic business to a whole other level. Get ready to learn more from this incredible conversation. So tell me what else you've been up to, because I know that these experiences for couples, so important. I think it's amazing. It's so unique. I'm glad that you had that class in college so that you could create this, because this is so cool. And on top of that, you're really passionate and dedicated to really helping people on, however you can, right? Yeah. So what else are you up to?
So I started with the actual experience, and then through that, hearing couples, and I would always hear their testimonial. I would record it, and I'm like, I want to really hear what they say. And the one element that would always come up, I would ask them, like, from everything that you experienced, what is the one element that really gave you that breakthrough? And time again, they would talk about the You and Me Time connection cards, which are the series of questions that I crafted for them. Okay. And so I'm like, okay, these are personal questions, but what if I created a deck of cards that were meaningful, that I can make it more accessible for couples to experience, and you can have with them, like I literally have them. These are actually the packaging for them. I can show you right here, but it comes a deck of a series of connection cards, conversation starters, and you can take with you when you're in the car, when you're like having a family meal time, wherever you go. I think you just have to set yourself up for success and have those conversations. So I have the You and Me Time connection cards, which people can purchase at my website, youandmetime.com. I also have my online program called Effortless Love, which I'm super excited about, because one of the things that I experienced in my own marriage, this is like a birth of love. It's just all the amount of responsibilities that we have to manage, running the household, taking care of the kids, all the things, right? And so marriage, having a relationship, takes a lot of logistics. So with Effortless Love, I literally walk you through the essential relationship skills that you need to be able to communicate effectively with your partner, for you to be able to manage conflict in a healthy way, for you to be able to connect even when you feel like you have no time, and for you to be able to collaborate together. So I literally, through this 8-week program, I walk you through all the skills that you need, the important ones that you need to be able to navigate life. Because even if you say that you don't have time for your relationship, the reality is that if you're busy, you cannot not afford to not spend time in your relationship, right? I find that when I'm in the busiest times in my business, I need my husband and I to be on the same page. I need us to be communicating. I need us to be in tune with one another and supporting one another. If I tell myself, and I have been there, where I say, oh, I'm too busy, I have this project coming up, I have to focus on this. And if I neglect, which I have been there, I live the consequences of that. So I have learned, to always anticipate, okay, what season of life am I stepping into? Are we getting pregnant? Are we, gonna be moving? Are we transitioning? What you always want to be looking ahead, and then figuring out, okay, what skills do I need to get right now to help me, so when we're there, we can navigate it a lot smoother. So with the program, I literally walk you through it. It's live, it's via Zoom, which I'm super excited, because then couples get to ask me questions and get the help that they need. And it's also an accessible way of coaching. The average session for coaching, relationship coaching or therapy, is about $150 to $200 per session. So this is like a way that you can access the skills that you need to be able to navigate your relationship at a more affordable way,
So this is much more affordable. It gives people so much information and tools that they can use so that they can really enhance their relationships. I mean, I just think about how, as I talked about it before, when people have children, especially, they really get focused on the children and they forget that they are the foundation. What's going on with them is really important so that they can be everything that they can possibly be for those kids. And you're giving not just that experience with You and Me Time, but now you have this course that's going to really help really a lot of couples. You know, literally you can help marriages stay intact. You could help, you know, relationships stay together so that they eventually one day become married. I mean, there's so much that I see inside of this. And then I love those cards in that box. Like, that's exciting to have a box like that and just have these questions that you can ask each other so that you can stay connected. How fun, how important, how necessary for what's going on in this world where people are distracted. I mean, you even mentioned to me how sometimes people can be sitting at a table, they're supposed to be having an experience together, but instead they're both on their phones. You know how many times I go to restaurants and I see a whole family doing that? Like 4 people, and they're all individually on their phones. The kids, the mother, the father. It's crazy right now, isn't that?
Yeah, for sure. And I think we definitely need to just wake up, because the reality is that your partner, and I have this this conviction always that your partner may be actually going through something that you may not even know.
Yes.
And it's up to you. You know, if you're the one in the relationship that has this interest in, like, you can see it both ways. You can say, oh, why do I always have to be the one initiating? Why do I always have to be the one, like, wanting to have the conversation? Why do I always have to be the one pursuing? But instead of you looking at it that way, that is just going to put you in a mode of like victim and feeling like you're carrying all the weight. Look at it as, okay, there's specific gifts that you have. Like, there's things that you're seeing that they're probably not seeing. And so you could be the one initiating and say, hey, let's, you know, I have this set of questions for us to do together. And at first it may feel like they may look at you like, and you have no idea, Tanya, the amount of people that have looked at the cards and they're like, what is this? Or I don't need these questions to have conversation. And then they're the ones that say, wow, like, this is the best conversation that I've had with my partner in like 5 years. I actually learned something, you know, and so I think we need to just understand that there's a lot at stake.
Yes.
You know, maybe if you could have been more intentional in that, when you're out in that restaurant and you're seeing your partner on the phone, you don't know if your partner is actually going through depression. You don't know if your partner is going through something very stressful at work, and maybe they need help, but they are just so in it that they don't even know that they need the help. And maybe someone that literally takes them by the hand and walks them through, you know, what they're feeling. And so when you see a whole family, like you mentioned, in a restaurant, you can see literally 5, 7, 8 people that are probably going through their own situations. Like, we're going through so many real things right now in the world, and I think we all need it. The amount of couples that are feeling lonely even though they're married is just so sad. And so we literally need to understand that there's something at stake here. If I don't have a meaningful conversation, if I don't use this time that we have right now, there's something at stake. And a lot of times we don't see it, we don't realize it until it's too late, or we get a wake-up call, like maybe a mom or a parent that realizes, hey, my kid is, you know, contemplating suicide, and I had no idea. The amount of times that you hear that nowadays, or you see it on the news, it's sad. Why is it that we have no idea that this is happening? Why is it that we have no idea? Because we're not having those moments. We're not, like, we are so in it that we are now waking up to the reality of things. And so for me, I can be on my phone, or I can say, you know what, my husband is on his phone and this is upsetting me, but maybe there's something that he's going through right now at work that is having him in this state, and he needs me right now to be that person that tries to unveil things and, you know, peel the onions. So with questions, that's what I see questions as, like, you're peeling the onion, where you're helping the person discover themselves, what it is that they're going through, and you're going on that journey with them, because sometimes they don't even know what they're going through, and through these questions you get to discover that with them. And so
Sayuri, this is really, really important information for our audience, because I think that there are a lot of couples out there. I think there are a lot of families out there. What you mentioned about teen suicide. It's just mind-boggling, the number of suicides that are among teenagers. And yes, there is this disconnect that is going on in families a lot of the time. And what you're doing is really helping them. I know, without a shadow of a doubt, it's helping people and helping families stay connected and, possibly even saving lives inside of what we just shared. And you even said to me it takes 5 hours a week, is it? Yeah. Tell me that really quickly before we wrap up about what you said about 5 hours.
So Dr. John Gottman, I mentioned to you, he is a world-renowned relationship researcher. He actually discovered that it takes about 5 hours for you to maintain a healthy relationship. And so that obviously breaks down into, when you're leaving to work or you're leaving, you're saying goodbye for the day, taking those 5 minutes to say good morning or goodbye. I wish you, have a little conversation there, having a state of union meeting with your partner once a week, about an hour, where you're talking about, syncing on each other's calendars and, what are you up to this week and what do we want to do? Like, that's really important. Taking 1 hour for date night, also very important, because you don't want to bring all the logistics of running a household and the kids and all of the things to date night. So it's important to have that. So for you to separate it. So he literally identified there's 5 hours that it literally takes to maintain a healthy relationship. And so obviously every season is different, but what I have found, like my husband and I, we have a 2.5-year-old. Even when we were going through the newborn phase, which for a lot of couples, they see a decline in marital satisfaction when there's a first baby in the family, right? And so they're going through this big transition, and you can tell yourself, there's no way that I can spend time with my husband when we have a newborn. But the idea is like you're putting it in your mind that it has to look a specific way. You think to yourself that we have to be on a nice dinner with flowers and candlelight dinner. That's not reality. And so when I tell people with You and Me Time, it's like, yes, I can do this very grand, detailed experience, but at the same time, I also understand that it's not always realistic for you to do those weekly. And so you have to figure out, okay, how can we do this in the messiness, in the clunkiness of the season right now? My husband, he will walk into the nursery while I'm breastfeeding my daughter. He will sit himself in the ottoman and we will sit down and have a You and Me Time conversation. He will go through the questions. So figuring out, maybe it's like, well, we're doing bath time with our daughter, and we're doing our check-in, our daily check-in, where we ask each other, hey, what are 3 things that happen in your day today, and how do you feel about them? That's something simple that you can do. And maybe it's not realistic for you to have a meal conversation every single night, but hey, can you do it while you're loading the dishwasher and your partner's broom is vacuuming being creative, being intentional, finding out, like, instead of saying no, we don't have the time, figuring out how can we do it right now in this season. So
that is so cool, because everybody, when you think about it, when you're thinking about spending time with your significant other, you think it has to look a certain way. Exactly. But like you say, especially if you have a newborn, you don't want to be waiting 5 years before that child is older to have your date night. You can figure it out inside of the messiness, because life is messy. And that's how it is. So just be creative and think outside of the box, and you can still have quality time, loading the dishes and still connecting. How cool.
Sure.
I love it.
It's funny because I say that out of my own also experience, because my husband, we literally have the best conversations when we're like out and about, and he's like, we may be doing something random, like he's literally taking the trash out of the house, and I come up with this deep question, and he's like, where do you come up with like all these questions? But it's like, if we don't do it now, when are we gonna do it, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And you can't put it off. You've got to really focus on nurturing that relationship now so that you stay connected and you have a really happy, joyful life together. So thank you, Sayuri. You've got to tell us, how can people reach out to you? Like, what's the best way?
So my website is youandmetime.com. So YOUANDMETIME spelled out. And same thing with my Instagram, You and Me Time. And I also have a YouTube channel, which is You and Me Time TV.
That's wonderful. is there. I think that once they go to your website
Yeah.
too, there's going to be a lot of information there. I can't wait to hear more about your online program that you've created. And this is fantastic. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me. I know that the audience out there is going to enjoy watching this and they're going to get a lot out of it, Sayuri. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Oh, definitely. This was absolute fun. See you soon.
See you. Bye.
Bye. Well, did I not promise you a conversation that could help you learn how to bring a positive transformation to your relationship or that of someone you know? Now, partnerships can be formed, and people who feel invisible or not heard can have the opportunity to grow from a relationship to an actual partnership, and families can become healthier. I just got so much out of that conversation and pray that you did too. Don't hesitate to book your You and Me Time experience for you and the special person in your life. And don't hesitate to also get your 8-week Effortless Love coaching session booked and purchase your You and Me Time connection cards. You and Me Time is an amazing company, and Sayuri can be reached through Instagram at You and Me Time or through her website, youandmetime.com. And she also has a YouTube channel, You and Me Time TV. And of course, remember, if you are buying or selling a home or have a friend or family member who is, send them to Tanya, because we wear the hat to bring you the facts.